Hi everyone. Today I thought I would change up the pace a little bit and give you an update on the 29-gallon that currently houses my pseudomugil furcatus and show you how much it has changed in a year. This is footage of the tank from 1 year ago. At the time, I only had some endlers in it, and the plan was to create a fairy garden type scape and move my pseudomugil furcatus into it, as well as my pandagara, once the tank had become more established. You can see how sparsely planted it was at this time. I have 2 other tanks with CO2 and high light, but those started out as lushly planted low-tech tanks, and I learned an important lesson that if I'm going to start a tank off with high light and CO2, I better have enough plants to utilize all that from the get-go, or I'm just going to be a blackbeard algae farmer. This tank was covered, and I mean covered.
What a dork.
I tried hydrogen peroxide, even Excel. Neither touched it, so I did a partial teardown. I rescaped the tank, did a partial blackout, and stopped using Easy Green in this tank altogether. After about a month and scooping out large amounts of dying black-beard algae, I was able to begin increasing the light again. Here's what the tank looks like now, and it's been like this for 7 or 8 months. I moved my furcatus over. I have 3 females and 3 males. That big guy there is pushing 2 years old. I also added 6 ember tetras to this tank. If you are interested in keeping pseudomugil furcatus or forktailed rainbow fish, they are a very active fish. Think of an activity level along the lines of guppies or endlers. So keep that in mind when choosing tank mates so that you're not putting them with a fish that might annoy. And obviously don't put them with fish that are big enough to swallow them. I do very much recommend a tank size that is at least a 20 long, which is why I wanted to move these fish. I felt like they needed more room to swim. And the 29 is the same length as a 20 long. It's just deeper front to back and taller. They are mostly a mid-water fish, although they will go all over the tank. They like a pH of between 7 and 8 with just a little bit of hardness. As for the temperature, I keep mine about 78. I don't let it go above 80. There's a little bit of conjecture, I guess, on temperature. 74 is definitely the minimum. Some people say you can keep these guys as hot as 86, and that the higher temperature ranges increases spawning. However, I feel personally a little afraid to keep them that hot. I'm afraid it would speed up their metabolism and burn them out. And I find that they do spawn constantly at about 78 degrees. I've taken their mops out just so that you can see what the scape looks like. This Christmas moss I do trim about once every 2 weeks just to get it to keep its shape. Atlandsberg sword there is from the original tank setup that I had. There is a crypt, I think it's loosens there. There's some little anubias nana petites tucked into the crevices of that big piece of Malaysian driftwood. Some pearlweed that I moved from another tank. And most of the really tall plant is willow hygro or hygrophila angustifolia, with a few stems of bacopa caroliniana mixed in. That large Java fern is having some issues. I stopped using Easy Green because I found that I did not need the phosphates and the nitrates that were in the water. And I mostly use trace now, and I've gotten a potassium supplement as well to help with this Java fern's issues. And I run CO2, you can see it back here, at about a bubble every 2 seconds. So I mentioned mops, and this is a new experiment for me here. In this container, I have methylene blue, and in this one, it's just regular water. That fish is not in the container. It's like between the glass and the container, so is that snail. This is just plain water with the air stone, which tries to keep the water moving and the eggs moving around. So far, I've had really bad luck. I had one egg that fungused in the methylene blue. So I made that stronger. And in here right now, there's an egg that is stuck to the air stone with like a little bit of the yarn from the mop. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so like by my fingertip, there's a bubble on the left, and then the egg is on the right toward the bottom of the air stone. Most of the eggs are turning milky, as you can see. Some of those moving around there. I have read that that means that they're likely not fertilized, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, I figured it wouldn't hurt to try, since I've seen them spawning in this moss just about constantly, and the eggs are likely being eaten. So yeah, it's just a new thing I'm trying. If I have any luck with it, I will definitely share it with everyone. And I just noticed the snail is just kind of floating in midwater. They're a very, very fun fish to keep. And I do still have some blackbeard algae in here, as you can see, but I consider it like under control now. So thanks so much for watching this update. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment if you would like to say hello. And I'll leave you with some footage of the males sparring.